What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome to another Tuffy Talk live show, y'all. We appreciate y'all tuning in here. We're excited to get rolling here as we're going to be previewing and talking about this upcoming week, talking about what happened this past weekend. I mean, just so much to get to here today, and so we're going to be trying to get to as much of it as we can. But also, too, if you have seen already that we are treating this day as a call-in show, so meaning that if you want to jump into the conversation, ask a question, give us your thought, whatever it may be, for just 30-second minute time frame, feel free to hit that link in the description and we will bring you in here one by one. And keep in mind that if for some reason it doesn't allow you in, just be patient, as there's only a certain amount of people that we can have waiting in queue at a time. But again, we'll bring you in here. Keep on trying. We'll get you in here as soon as we can. But with that being said, first comes first. Obviously, got to point out Ken's, though, with the new background. Am I right?
Heck yeah, I had to do something special.
I like
nice.
it. I like it.
It's nice and symmetrical too.
Right? And I got Chad here with us now.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
We're good.
That's good.
Did you steal those banners from Greg's house?
No, I actually listen to this. My dad had them in his safe. Finally got into the safe, and he had those hidden from us. I don't know if it was like a Christmas present or what, but now they're up.
Those are important. They should be kept safe.
Yeah, especially now. I feel like it's a sign that I found them.
Ooh,
Very
cool.
interesting.
Love
Very interesting.
Love a good sign.
But also to keep in mind that if you do not want to call in, again, feel free to send your questions, thoughts, concerns, whatever it may be, in the comments as well. We will get to all those here as well. But with that being said, since we have somebody here waiting for us, I think we should just go ahead and just bring somebody in here, right? Let's go ahead and see what we got to say. We got Jack in here with us. Jack, do you hear us? You got us? And keep in mind too that
you guys got me.
Yeah, man.
Got you, Jack. How you doing, man?
Doing good.
Doing good.
I'm gonna start off with a pretty obvious concern with March Madness coming up.
Okay.
If we competed a little bit more in the ACC tournament, I would feel better about the situation that we're in. But with Creighton being kind of a team on the rise and kind of hot right now, and I feel like they kind of got underseeded. Do you think there's any realistic chance that we can even get past there? Because I know it's with a better matchup against DJ. You know, their center doesn't really shoot, and that seems to be a problem throughout the year. But I just, especially for bracket filling purposes, you know, there's going to be some bias towards the Wolfpack.
Well, the one thing which I will say, Jack, is so we actually did. Michael and Greg did a NCAA preview yesterday, which will be coming out here later this week, breaking it all down. But Michael, Macon, well, maybe Macon, since Michael kind of gave his preview.
Yeah.
Macon, what are your thoughts on that, my man?
So when I'm just going to talk about the objectives, right? So when I look at Creighton, they've got 5 players in double-digit scoring. They've got one guy who's just a little short. I mean, at least one guy who's a little short of a double-double. And their best player is their center. I think it's Kalkbrenner, I think is his last name. He's averaging right around 15 points per game, and I think 6 rebounds a game. It's pretty good. I did not realize this, but he was apparently for the Big East. He's the 2-time Defensive Player of the Year for their conference. I think the balanced scoring is something that you take seriously. Okay, those guys, if one guy's not doing well, then you got the other guys who can score. I think the matchup is going to be really interesting is Burns versus Kalkbrenner. But they've got a few other guys, particularly when I watch highlights, their wing players worry me because they have length and they can space the floor well. I feel like a guy like Jack Clark, in case you're going to have big defensive games for State. But I think State has more athleticism when I watch the game. I will say, though, I don't know how I feel about playing Creighton. I think State can win this game. And when I look at their side of the bracket going to play, if State were to beat Baylor, unless something University of California, Santa Barbara beats Baylor, we're playing Baylor. They're a tough matchup. Because I think they do have some good athleticism there. I don't know how I feel about it yet, to be honest with you. I think it's a team State can beat. I think there's other 6 seeds on this board or similar seeded teams that are tougher than Creighton. But the balanced scoring, the guards that can really shoot the ball well, I know their post player is the leading scorer, but it's not something that you want to brush away at how their guards can score. So I think State can win this game. I just think none of these games are going to be easy at this point, right? Because they're all in the NCAA tournament. So that's how I feel about it. It's kind of not really on the fence, not really one way or the other. I think State can win this game. I think if State's going to win this game, I think it's going to be by like 6, 7, or 8 points. I think Creighton's probably, if Creighton wins, I think it's probably 5, 6, 7, somewhere in there. That's just what I'm thinking right now, but not really based on anything, just my gut feeling. So
and the one other thing which I'll add to that, Jack, as well, is I saw the Athletic came out with their projections, and they actually have us as the 6th or 7th best likelihood of pulling an upset in the first round. So basically, in the 32 games going on, that they give us the 6th or 7th best chance to pull an upset. So again, I think that's, and especially again, like if Jaquavian Smith and Jarkel Joyner are shooting for 50, like they did against Virginia Tech, we got a very good chance. If they come out like a dud, like we did in the second half, then or if DJ Burns gets into foul trouble because we're just not very deep at the big man position, then those are the two things that really are concerning.
Would I rather play Kentucky or Creighton? Kentucky's a 6 seed, right? I'd rather play Creighton
for sure than Kentucky,
because Kentucky has that more athleticism. Then you're compared to TCU, who's had some big wins this season.
TCU is going to be tough.
I'm worried about DJ Burns though, because obviously I was watching Butler a little bit this year too because of Manny, and they double teamed him a lot. Creighton did, and so I know for a fact they're going to do the same thing to DJ, and DJ doesn't really handle that well. So I think that he's going to have to. There's going to be a lot of practice for DJ this week, or a lot of
that Denver altitude may get to him pretty quick too. And they have to,
The only thing I'll say about that though is, does Butler have the same level of guards that can score like State does? I don't know if they do. I can go back and check.
They don't.
So they might feel like they could afford that. They may feel like they have to, but I think State has shown that you actually may want to try to take Jarkel Joyner out of the game. We had that, observation a while ago. Like State may go as far as Jarkel Joyner takes a team, but I feel like teams maybe are starting to realize if you try to take out Joyner, that's probably your best chance to win the game.
Yeah.
Because DJ has games where he goes off and State still loses, right? So
true. So yeah, Jack. So basically, long answer short. Yes, we do have a realistic chance of pulling the upset. Now, I mean, are we favored? Are we feeling confident about it? No, but it just depends. It really just unfortunately it depends. So
opening betting line was 5, 6, 7 points, right?
Crazy. Yeah, 5.5 right now.
Yeah. So
5.5. Yep.
Yeah.
So any other questions, thoughts, Jack?
Not at this time. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, Jack. Thanks for calling in, man. We appreciate you, and go Pack.
Go Pack.
Go Pack. Awesome. All right. So again, y'all. So we're waiting here. So if you want to call in again, hit the link in the description or in the comment box as well. Again, from your phone, from your computer, whatever it may be. Just link your audio. Again, don't need to see video or anything like that. And again, we'd love to hear your questions, thoughts. But if worse comes worse, then I'm in the comments. But Greg, got you back in here, bud. So I mean, really for me, it just comes down to that. I think it is a must because we've done a lot of good things this season. I want to go ahead and get this out of the way. Like, obviously, going from being last place in AC last year to tying the most AC wins in program history this year is great. Now, the one thing which, a couple things which I'll add to it is obviously the AC this year has not been as dominant as maybe it ever has been, honestly. It definitely has not been it's definitely been, I feel like, one of the weaker conferences as a whole that AC has ever been. Because typically you always had either UNC or Duke on top of Virginia, Miami, being really, really good. And obviously you haven't had that this year. Which is, not necessarily to, again, 13 AC wins, still a great thing for sure. But also too, it's just concerning to me because when we started off 2023, we went on that crazy streak. I really was excited because I felt like the Keats really took Burns and took Jarkel and really help blossom them into, being really key players for us. But now that we've seen, where we've come on the bad side, for example, getting blown out at home against Clemson, the loss against Duke, the loss against Clemson again, the tournament. My worry is that I just wonder if what we saw early in the season was just because DJ Burns and Jarkel Joyner are really just that good. That I think I'm honestly giving a ton of credit to Keats more of just getting those players in the room, period, more than necessarily I would say that he coached them to this point. That's my concern, because just like you said, Macon, we kind of go as far as Jarkel Joyner takes us. That's just my worry, is that I want Keats to put our players in a position to make good players great and to make great players superstars. And, watching, like, Macon and I talked about it, watching Virginia's offense, as much as they do not score. I mean, obviously against Duke, they just dudded. They were just not making shots whatsoever. But man, like the back screens, the movement, like it's intriguing, to say the least. And even more, I would say, like when DJ Burns gets the ball, right? What do you see happen? He'll back in, and KC and all them will line up on the outside of the 3-point line and just stand there. And that's my biggest, is like, well, basically you're hoping that DJ Burns doesn't get called for a charge, which as of recently, he's getting a lot of those, or they don't double him, and if they do, then you're asking him to make, a tough pass, which, he can do, but you're asking a lot of him, and you're not just like giving him a high percentage likelihood of making that play. So leaving it kind of open to you guys, but that's really just my concern, for this season, but just more of the long term as well, is that I just don't want State to go as far as we are talented, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, Greg, Michael, thoughts, Kens? Yeah, I know that was a loaded comment.
That was a very loaded question.
I was just like, let me just go and get it out there. Let me just go and get it. I've been thinking about this a lot.
But I didn't know how to respond.
Because obviously I was at the game. So I mean, during that whole second half, because I said I'm going to stay the whole time. Like, I'm not going to leave early. I'm going to stay because I'm going to support these guys. But obviously, as we're getting our butts whipped, I'm thinking about these things, So
well, yeah. I think State's. We say that the team goes as far as Jarkel Joyner takes us. I feel like that's kind of like a lazy take sometimes when I say that, because it's like I do feel like when it ebbs and flows with what guys are on and on. I think having Jack Clark back is important for State. I think I saw that Greg Gant's a game time decision, it sounded like, on Friday. To me, I think a big part of it is spacing, moving the ball. I think it's going to be shot selection for Terquavian, and I feel like they're going to have to find ways to. I feel like Keats needs to think about this: is if teams double down on Burns, how do they have a plan in place to adjust for that? And I don't know if I've seen them do that. Although there's not a lot of teams who double State down because they're so concerned with the guards. I don't know. I feel like State is a dangerous team as anybody, but they're either really hot or they're really cold, and that's why I don't feel like they're going to make. Then they could make a big long run. I feel like they're going to have one of these games where if they get down by like 10, and they're going to probably get deflated a little bit, maybe in the second half kind of thing. We've seen that a little bit. I think you see some players fight, but yeah, I don't know. Go ahead.
I'm going to be honest. Seeing the Clemson game in the tournament, not any of the home or like any of the regular season games, but that might have been really good. That loss might have been really good for us, like for the full picture, because talking to some of these guys afterwards, like they were terrified. Like they genuinely, like they were asking me and like asking fans, like, do y'all think we're safe? I'm like, y'all should know.
Really? They were scared.
I'm like, why? Like, y'all should be helping us feel better about this.
Yeah.
But I think that it really helped, because I think they're about to go out and show, like, look, like we had to cross our fingers and pray and hope to get here. We're not going to go out the first round. I really think they're going to make a run. I really do.
Hope so. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, the one thing I would really say about the whole thing, and we didn't even talk about this, Michael, on the preview that we did last night that's coming out this week. none of these guys except for Morcell have NCAA tournament experience.
Yeah.
So how is that going to show up and play out? At least, for the first 5, 10, half. I mean, you don't have wiggle room when you get down to tournament time. It's obviously one and done. So
True.
how is that part of the psyche gonna happen and play out for us? But conversely, this is the first time, and for most of those guys, it'll be the only time. So it could go either way. Now, are we going to be feast or fathom or fight or flight? You know what I mean? So what is that? What's it gonna look like? And that's the one thing that we don't know. That is a complete unknown. So
Greg, when are we carpooling to Colorado? Are we getting those miles in too? Honestly,
I told Michael I looked at flights last night, and it's not happening. And part of the thing, part of the fun about the tournament too, is the spontaneity of it, and just road tripping or doing whatever. But you only have a 3-day turnaround, 4-day turnaround to get there, and flights are redonkulously expensive. So
I looked at one ways.
I do make this promise, and I expect Leighton to do the same. Sweet 16s in Louisville, so that's doable for Wolfpack Nation. So if that team gets us to Louisville, I can promise you, Wolfpack Nation will show out if we get to the Sweet 16.
Oh, for sure. All right, y'all. So we're gonna bring in our next calling guest here. Got Jack Cummings. Jack, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for calling in. How you doing?
I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
It's been a good week for the men and the women. So
for sure.
That whole Sunday, I was sweating out looking at Twitter, trying to see which way the wind was going to blow. I was like,
that's a true statement.
I felt good. I felt bad. I'm worried about NC State going to lose 3 baseball games. Is this going to be a bad Sunday or a good Sunday? So and then I said, well, at least I'll watch the Hurricanes, and then of course that thing didn't work out. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. And you look at these matchups, and it's like it can go anyway. I mean, it doesn't matter who you play. The opponent, and so they don't know how to figure us out. How do we figure them out? So I don't know, and I'm just I'm hoping for the best. Like you guys have said, I just hope Smith is on, takes good shots. Let's hope we get officials who don't try to look for DJ Burns and call him for 3 fouls in 5 minutes. Let the guy play.
There won't be any ACC refs, so that's
Smith's not out there anywhere lurking around. So.
That's right.
Teddy's not either. So
Teddy's not. I can deal with Teddy. Teddy annoys everybody equally. So.
That's true. Well, because that's my thing too. Is like my wife was asking me like, who's the favorite to win it this year? I mean, I would say Bama, maybe, but I mean,
they are.
Other than that, I mean, it's still pretty wide open. Just like you said, anybody could win this tournament. Anybody.
Yeah.
So.
It's funny. This whole thing's funny with us and Clemson then getting upset, and it's like, you know what? Carolina was in there before you guys were in there, so don't get mad at us. They were going to
exactly
right.
So, Jack, how far do you got NC State going? The whole thing? They're winning the whole thing.
I'm going that. I think we guys just win that first game, and then we'll take them there. And I think Baylor's a good matchup. But
okay.
I'm a lot older than you guys. I've seen a lot of misery, so I said, "Get me the first one. Let's just get this first one under for Keats, and then we'll go from there."
That 1-0 mentality.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question because we haven't really had this discussion yet. Let's say State loses first game.
Lincoln,
I'm just saying hypothetically because he's just serious for discussion. What does that mean for Keats? Do you think, Jack?
He's fine.
Okay. You think he's good to go? He's made the tournament. He's earned his respect from the fans, that kind of thing.
Well, for me, who has been watching this stuff for 50 years, he's fine. Let the man learn. There's nothing out there, folks, to see who's the guy out there that you really want. I've seen the recent hires. There's no impressive hires out there. You want to do what Georgia Tech just did? They took a shot in the dark there, or there's.
Yeah, I was just curious because I was just thinking if with Keats. I think State could win a game or 2, 3, 4. I mean, I'm curious what the stats are because they have some historical data that shows the success of teams by seed. And I was looking at that the other day, and I got to find that. But State can make a run. I'm just curious how far is good enough for the fan base. I mean, we were in the tournament, and that should be a great thing in and of itself. But how far is good enough? If we lose the first game, is that going to sting? Is it going to really, no one's going to like losing. But do you feel like, okay, we got to get to the Sweet 16 for it to feel like we did something worthwhile? I guess that's where I was getting.
I would be absolutely, totally over the moon thrilled with Sweet 16. I mean, that would just.
Oh, for sure.
I think it would. Yeah.
And then, but also thinking, man, we're in this tournament. There's only 5 ACC teams this year. You know how hard it is to get in this thing now. You look, it is just impossible to get into this tournament. It's like, and I remember the days of Jimmy Valvano. That's how old I am. It's like, man, we're like getting half our conference was getting in every year. So
well, back then it was just as hard though. If you think about it, I mean, there was even less teams. So in theory, your odds have gotten better. But I get where you're going. It feels like there's more teams now that are playing to get in the tournament where you didn't have as many teams before, but you didn't have as many teams vying for spots. So I get that.
Yeah, but if we lose, I'll be disappointed, but I'm not ready to say, "Oh, I hate you again." I say, "No, I'm not going that way."
Life's too short for that.
I'm good there. I'll be at the state baseball game and watching Virginia, and then the women played at night, and then the wrestling program. They're in a championship this whole weekend, so there's a lot of good things.
I love his optimism.
Love it, Jack. That's awesome, man.
And then maybe the Hurricanes. It's okay. I mean.
Yeah,
there's a lot going on. There's a lot of good things, and I hope the best for him. But there's going to be some positive things that are going to happen this weekend somewhere.
Right, for sure.
Law of averages says it has to happen.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Jack, for calling in. We do appreciate it.
Enjoyed the show. You guys are doing great work. So
thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Go Pack, baby.
Yeah, go Pack.
Awesome.
So
yeah, go ahead, Greg.
So Macon did bring up a good point, and we can kind of peel that banana a little bit. What is everyone thinking? Like Keats has only won 2 ACC games, right? Conference games in the tournament.
Yeah,
we haven't won a single NCAA game.
Correct, both at Wilmington and here at State. Now, obviously, this is his only second time, and I think he went 3 with Wilmington, but he hasn't proven, at least to the fan base, that he can win on a big stage. So that should go into some of the people's thoughts about where you put him as far as do you put him on that proverbial hot seat? Does he get a pass because he did turn around a worst to middle of the pack, pardon the pun there. What do you do? I mean, because I don't think you measure success in the regular season. And I don't think just getting to the tournament is good enough. I think you have to show up and win ball games in March. And that includes both the conference and the tournament. So what do you guys think?
If we get blown out, then I think he's definitely on the hot seat back to being on the hot seat.
I think you have to be respectful.
Close competitive game. I mean, if we win, I mean, all hell Kevin Keats, honestly. Yeah. But if we lose, then if it's a bad game, then I feel like obviously fans are going to come out and be looking at the negative like they will anyway.
Because at that point, it's like, why did we even go?
Yeah.
Exactly. And other fans are going to say there was no point of even traveling that far for us to just play like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're still one of the best teams in the country this year. You earned it, and that's something you haven't even tasted. I think State feels that way, but I think State, for the fan base, because it's been so long and it's been such a drought, I think he has to win a game.
Mm-hmm.
And if he doesn't win a game, I don't know if that really does anything for him. It's kind of I think the fans will go all right, you got us there to the tournament. That's great. So we're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. But I don't think it gives him any sort of contract extension or anything like that. Oh, you made the tournament, here's an extra year or two. And I don't think that's it either. No. So that's just my thought about it. I think he has to win a game for the fan base to be like, okay, we made the round of 32. Okay, yeah.
Well,
and you would also think that you would need to get there because at one point you were in the top 25, right? So that you would say that finishing 32 is about where you were ranked. give or take a few spots. But if you don't win, you're top 60, 18. Like, what's the excitement there?
Yeah. I agree with. I think he. I mean, I don't think he has to win a game. I think winning a game would go a long
way.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. It's like you've earned it. You've earned it to getting us there. Congratulations. You had no expectations. You did the job in the offseason to get these guys in. Let go of all the assistant coaches. I feel like the assistant coach thing is getting way overlooked. Like people were talking about the roster. He remade the roster. He like fired everybody, right?
Everybody, yeah.
So I think people are not giving him that kind of credit either. It's like, look, he realized his job was on the line, and he cleaned house, right? So he's like, I'm going to show I'm willing to make those adjustments. So I think he's earned another year at this point, to a degree. But I mean, I will say if he loses, and it's not going to sit well with me either. So
Here's the other thing that we can throw out there that we haven't been able to throw out there: recruiting. Right? He can now go to a recruit's house and say, "Hey, we made the tournament last year. Hey, we made it to the round of 32. Hey, we made it to the round of 16." That's something that he hasn't been able to go to someone's house and go, "You come to my program, I can take you and get you the exposure you need on national TV."
And there's guys on this team that still have eligibility to come back, and I'm not talking about Turquavian because I think he's gone. He could come back, but I think he's gone. Jarkel's definitely gone. So you got my guys like Casey, Marcel, and DJ Burns, Jack Clark. They could all still come back next year. And
Dusan, if he gets a medical red shirt.
And then you got guys, guys like LJ. I'm trying.
Breon.
Like those guys could all still come back, and I think that could be a really good thing for State, for the future. But to your recruiting point, Greg, you can build on this, right?
Yeah.
There's no negative towards.
One last thing I'll say: if State was to win, it is going to be an upset, right? I mean, an upset, right?
Absolutely.
So it's like it's not going to be easy. So you're not favored in this game, and it's by a good margin. So
And here's the other thing we'll talk about the recruiting real quick is guess what you can say that another program down the road can't. We made the tournament last year.
True. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
I mean, that's the edge. I mean, you need every little bit of edge when you're going after these kids, right? You need little thing to set you apart from the next program. So,
especially a blue school.
I mean, I think it's a very underrated point that we now can build upon this. True. This can be the start of something, regardless win or lose.
To think that we went from dead last to one of the best 64 teams in the country is like. I mean, that's
great.
It's great. But it's like,
but it's also that
we obviously
need
want
to go
better.
above this. This should not be the bar. The bar is higher. We obviously want
better, but none of us were.
Right.
You can't sit here and say that we were all expecting this.
But that's the point, Leighton, right? This is not the bar. The bar is not just to get participation.
Okay, this is good, but yes, exactly. I do want to give a shout out here to Nick saying, "Be honest, was everyone excited when they announced us early in the show rather than at the very end? Saved me a heart attack." Well, especially when State Basketball tweeted out even before they even were started announcing that we made the tournament. I was like, "Oh, okay."
Oh, they did.
Yeah, I got a notification like 2 minutes.
They tweeted before the show even started saying we were in. I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool, we're in."
Well, that's kind of anticlimactic.
Did they?
I mean, I'm not sad about it. So
no, for sure.
Yeah,
it was one of the things that Michael and I talked about, right? That was the exact point. Wasn't it nice to just get it over and done with in the first quadrant or the first segment? Like, it was nice.
Remember, like back at 10 years ago when we were literally the last team announced.
Or back in baseball where you thought, okay, they're on the last bracket last year. We're gonna. This is our bracket.
This is us.
This is our bracket.
And then they don't call your name.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, wait, they forgot somebody.
So, I do want to go ahead and bring in here Colby Pleasance, who's been waiting patiently. And Colby, I appreciate the patience, my man.
Like
but
Casey Morsell.
But well, that's no, it's a cool picture. Who is that, Colby?
Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you, man. You got us.
I got you guys. Yes, that's Casey. That's the photo where they were introducing the state uniform. So and that's my background to my phone. So like I love and I'm a huge Casey Morsell fan. So I love
absolutely
love me some Casey Morsell. So but
for sure.
I was just calling in. First of all, love the pod. Love that you guys are doing the call-in show. Anytime I get to talk to you guys is always a good time to me.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
And I kind of see some optimism with you guys with the game against Creighton.
Sure.
And then
yeah,
I hear a lot of negative though, and I'm kind of the total opposite when it comes to this game. I do a podcast as well.
Yep.
And I scream to my co-host all the time, kind of you got to be positive with this kind of outcome, because anytime you're negative, a negative outcome can happen. If you're positive with things, positive things happen. And that's just kind of how I look at it.
I mean, the guys are definitely watching these podcasts, y'all. Just saying.
Yeah.
AC Marcel's been watched it before. He's told me. Jarkel, so they're all listening to us. So let's be nice.
Yeah.
Well, and all of us, not just us, but everyone.
Yeah, every one of them.
Yeah. So,
yeah, exactly. But I always appreciate that you guys try to preach the positive side. I do the same on mine. And that's just something that I feel like a lot of Wolfpack Nation needs to kind of start believing in.
Yeah.
This team went from dead last in the ACC to being the 6th best team, borderline 5th best team.
Mm-hmm.
And won an ACC game. I haven't seen an ACC win since before COVID started. And
that's true.
Well, it was actually when COVID started, but I get your point.
Yeah, we get your point.
It's just to me, this team has really just kind of screamed just excellence in a way of it's different from last year. Totally different.
For sure.
You totally took a 180 at this point. And to me, that feels like you need to capitalize on that. You need to use that. You need to make sure that you go and win this game. And I feel comfortable that we can win it.
For sure. Well, and the one thing which I want to add to, Colby, is we wouldn't be talking like this, I feel, really as much if the regular season, if the end of the regular season and the tournament didn't go as it did. Getting blown out at home against Clemson, losing at Duke, where, we lost by, 6? But, we played like crap. 4. But we played like crap for 37 minutes. And, it's like, so you're aggravating going, dude, if we would have played average, we would have won that game. And then you say, okay, well, we crushed Virginia Tech, so we should. And this is our 3rd time beating Clemson. It's tough to beat a team 3 times. Like, this is a slam dunk for us. And then, the second half just, what an egg. So I think that's the problem, is that we're saying, like, it's great that we got in the tournament, but I've been saying it even before we started Tuffy Talk, which is that I have that NCAA tournament should not be a goal. It should be a byproduct. I want to be a team that, when we get in, we're like, yep, all right, cool. We got in. Let's go.
I
woo, we got in.
I'm not going to lie. That's how I reacted yesterday.
Yeah. You're one of the ACC teams that's very well known. Everybody knows us because of Jimmy V, because of David Thompson, because of Julius Hodge, because of Russell Wilson.
And I do want to add in that somebody told me that the 83 team is one of the best and one of the worst things to ever happen to us because of the fact that now we have the expectations like, oh, well, we can do it because we did it in 83, right? And it's like,
well, and that's the other thing. So you won in 74, 9 years later, you do it again in 83. So now you're kind of like, okay, we can do this once a decade.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying.
Right. Yeah, it's been 40 years since. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just that's a beauty and a curse, but I look at more as a beauty because my father went to state during Jimmy V's tenure.
Mm-hmm.
And he got to experience 83. And he said that literally it was the craziest thing you've ever experienced because literally everywhere, everybody was celebrating. He said that somebody took somebody's boat from their yard and burnt it on Hillsborough Street.
I love it.
That's
hardcore. That's hardcore.
If we win a national championship, NC State will be burned to the ground.
Yeah.
All of Raleigh will be on fire.
You definitely need to have your dad on your podcast and tell that story. That's good stuff, man.
Yeah,
He's got a boat in Raleigh.
That's a story that I take
on campus.
Like Raleigh.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
That's a story I take to my heart. You know, it's I have a lot of memories with my dad, and he's the one that kind of put me in my, show me the love of NC State. You know, don't beat yourself up when they lose. Don't be upset. You have the right to be upset. You know, that shows you're a passionate fan.
Right.
But show the love to when they have success.
Absolutely. 100%.
That's
just shouted out my
that's
entire
something
Twitter.
that my father has preached to me forever. And he always says that, you're part of the wolf pack. Something that the football team always says is the strength of the wolf is a pack.
Yep.
And the strength of the pack is the wolf.
Yep.
And I do live life kind of like that too. And
Love it.
I try to preach when I do my podcast, and I'm just going to throw a little shout out because my podcast is about to reach 100 subscribers, and I'm hoping to reach that goal.
It's awesome.
And just wanted to shout out my podcast. My podcast is a whole pack of wolves. It's starring me and my host Justin Grice. Yeah. And I just wanted to shout it out, and hopefully we can make it to 100.
Yeah. Well, definitely congratulations on that, Colby. And appreciate you coming on, man, and definitely shedding some positive light, man. We do appreciate you calling in, man, and definitely appreciate all the support, and best of luck to you as well. And we'll be supporters there as well. But thank you, Colby. Appreciate you, and go Pack, man.
Hey, go Pack,
thank you.
Man.
Go Pack.
Go Pack, man. Yeah. No, y'all, again, at the end of the day, just like we always say, there's always something positive to go to with NC State. And that's why we always say at the end of the day, we're going to, especially for me, and Ken's, I know, who were actually at the Clemson game, not to necessarily fault any of the other three, but I'm just saying, we were just there. It's hard to steer
Y'all
away
didn't
from
miss much. Okay.
Yeah, no, not that you missed much. Yeah.
Didn't miss much.
Yeah. It was rough. And I'll admit that it was, I honestly was more like chuckling.
Oh yeah, well, Mick and I were there
like,
for senior day. So what's worse?
Take that.
Yeah, take that. I know. No, again. So that's what I'm saying. That wasn't
the ACC tournament was
shade.
definitely worse because Carolina fans were still there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they were like, oh, y'all were just talking smack. Like, I'm like,
that was probably
that's
tough.
a good point.
Yeah, we were just straight in NIT, and then we're losing by like 27, and I'm like, crap.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah, no. But again, I think to me, just that's really my biggest, another biggest thing as well is that, you want to be working your way that you're getting better and better and better, and just unfortunately all that, that positive momentum we had at the beginning of the year just tanked, absolutely just tanked out of nowhere, and nobody expected it.
It's a new season now, so out with all that, we live in the present, and like Ken said earlier, go 1-0 every game.
Yeah, well, and again, and I completely agree with you on that. Only reason why I'm hesitant is just because after the Virginia Tech game, when they interviewed Jarkel and they talked about the Clemson game, like, what was that Clemson game mean, man? He's like, oh, dude, like, I had that circle, man. It's huge motivation for us. So I'm sitting here going, well, you had motivation for Clemson and we laid an egg, like, so like, I get you're saying it here, and I believe in you 100%. Like I'm not saying that we're not going to lose. I'm just saying, fool me once, shame on.
I'm just saying we're going to win the national championship.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't make them fall when they're not falling, but I think that after that egg that they laid, they're definitely, and what they experienced all day yesterday and since, because they had to wait a couple days just like we did. They were sweating just like we were. So I think that they leave tomorrow. They're gonna be ready.
I will say this: I think State has the makeup of a team that can make a run. It's one of those teams when you look at a field generally year to year, you're like, that's a team that I'm going to be picking to make some upsets.
And why do you say that? Because they present matchup problems,
right? And their athleticism, they can ball when they're on, they're balling, and they're coming back to anybody. But it's just you never know, and that's why it's so. I think to me, why it's so frustrating this year, State fan, you had low expectations, and then you started playing really well. I mean, don't forget, like
you blew them out.
Getting New Year's.
We only lost to Kansas by 4.
Right? Yeah, but it's kind of like we didn't really know. I didn't think we really knew at that point what we really had. And then, I mean, State could beat. I mean, I don't want to say they can beat Baylor, but Baylor is really good. But they could do that. They could beat the 6 seed and the 3 seed.
But there's no reason you can't play their best game. The other team can play their worst game. I mean, there's nothing that says that can't happen, right? Now, does it happen 9 out of 10 times? Nope. But you only need 1. So
I mean, I feel like everybody's worried about this first game. I'm more worried about the second one if we get past it. Because I mean, we came out in the ACC tournament and balled out the first game. It was the second game where we were like, okay,
we
forgot how to play. So it's like that's the one I'm worried about.
Yeah, it was the consistency, and like it was kind of fool's gold. And I think at some points during the season, it's kind of been fool's gold, right? And just kind of when you're like, oh, well, maybe they're not as good, and then they go beat Duke by 20. You're like, okay, great. Now we're like, we're gonna win the Natty, and then
like a toxic relationship.
It really
when you're ready to leave, they're like, well, wait, I've changed. And
well, the problem is we keep swiping right.
Right.
Yeah.
I never leave.
Yeah. Yep. Nope. Again, like, definitely super excited about this game. And also too, another thing which I want to go ahead and throw out there as well that will be announced right here as well is so Friday for the game, we're actually going to be doing a watch party for the game. No shocker there. But we're actually going to be doing it just like we did for the UConn women's last year. So myself will be set up actually at Medios, and so Medios is going to be throwing a whole watch party there themselves. I'm going to be there in person. Join along with everybody. You get half off appetizers during the game from 4 to 6. So
do they grub up to Northern Virginia?
Yeah, I mean, so make sure if you can either A, join us at Medios for the game to watch it there with us, or B, if you're watching it from home or wherever it may be, make sure to have our watch party on as well, so that way you can comment, ask questions, during the game as well, and hopefully enjoy a huge win with us as well. So again, a Medios game will start at 4, get half off appetizers. So be there with us and hopefully, again, celebrate a huge, huge win. So got to give a shout out there. But I also got to talk a little bit about women's too here. I know we've talked a lot about men's here for about 45 minutes. So we got to talk a little bit about some others. So women, to me, again, another like we got a 7 seed, but I think with Diamond Johnson healthy, which I mean, she did a commercial for Powerade, which I mean, unless she did that really earlier, I mean, she looked good to go. And I know that was pretty much why they kept her out of the ACC tournament, was to make sure she was healthy for the tournament. Say again?
I'm joking. So that's why they kept her out of the tournament. And I jokingly was like, to make her do the Powerade commercial.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So I mean, and I truly do feel that, I mean, Diamond Johnson opens up a lot for you, especially with this team for sure. So I mean,
Diamond Johnson.
I mean, I know we're facing, Utah, who's a 2 seed. We're in the Utah. We're going to be hosted at Utah, and we'd have to play Utah if we beat Princeton. Yeah. And I think it's going to be a heck of a game. Princeton first, but I think even Utah, if we get a chance to face Utah, then I'm feeling pretty decent about it, in my opinion.
Utah's played a tough schedule.
Sorry, I cut you off. You finish.
Cool. No, I was just saying Utah's played a tough schedule, so don't sleep on Utah.
No,
again, we have to definitely get through Princeton, and they're a good Princeton team. They've only lost 4 games, and they've only lost 2 in their conference. So the other 2 they lost out of conference. So, but they didn't play nearly the schedule that we did, or even Utah. So I think we're going to get through that one. The test will definitely be Utah, though.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead, Macon.
Yeah, I'm curious. And with the women, similar question. What is the level of success? Yeah, what's a successful run in NCAA tournament?
So Michael and I will abstain because we kind of
we had the same
question.
On
ours, but go for it.
Kens, what you got first?
I mean, with what we've had the past few years, I mean, I feel like everybody's still thinking that. I don't really know. I feel like we're all kind of just hoping we win a game to get that confidence back in the women's program, but I think that this team with healthy Diamond Johnson could at least make it to the Sweet 16.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, that's the realistic bar is getting to Utah. I think beating Utah is gonna be tough. Beating them at their own place, with Diamond Johnson, who's been out for a little bit even as well, and also too, just like we're saying, like we've really struggled in the bigs this year, which definitely hurts, and also too not being able to shoot the three, which Diamond gives you some. But I wouldn't necessarily call her like a three point, like a lethal 3-point shooter necessarily.
Well, without looking at the stats, though, I think she is our best 3-point shooter by far.
She is, yes. So, but I'm just saying that it's not what we've had, with Kai and Reina and everybody, like etc. So, but so that's kind of like realistically, my bar is we got to get by Princeton. I think we got to get by Princeton in my eyes. So, Macon, what's your thoughts?
I feel like the way I got this vibe that the way the women's season is going to end in this tournament is going to be very reminiscent of how their whole season has gone. I got this vibe. That's what's going to happen. I got a feeling they will win game 1 and lose game 2. It's not a bad Utah team. Obviously, it's a good team, but I get that vibe. Like I hope they can prove me wrong. And again, being positive and negative, I'm just trying to be real with this. That's what I kind of think's going to happen. I haven't watched women's Utah clips, so maybe I need to go watch some more there. But I think State sometimes is unbalanced, and I think on one side, and I think they're going to feel that against Utah. So
yeah. Agreed.
But they can go back and run. But I don't want all to be sunshine and rainbows. I'm trying to be just real, and I think they can win a game. But I wonder if some of the inconsistencies is going to bite them game 2, kind of thing.
Yeah. But I do got to give, shout out once again. So Michael and Gray did our NCAA preview for men's and women's. Both those episodes will come out probably Wednesday evening. So make sure to stay tuned for that. And make sure you don't miss out on that. Also got to give a shout out to make sure you don't miss out any of our episodes, our watch parties, our live shows, whatever it may be. Hit that subscribe button right now, which is free to do. Hit that notification bell so you're notified whenever we go live with any new Tuffy Talk content. Make sure to do that. And also, if you enjoyed this show as well, if you wouldn't mind, hit that like button for us as well. We would appreciate it. Go ahead,
also,
Greg.
On the women's game, I don't know if anyone's noticed, but it's a 10 o'clock tip.
Late.
I know. In Greenville, South Carolina, too. It's not like it's on the West Coast.
Yeah.
No. It's in Utah.
Oh, crap. Duh. I'm sorry. I'm thinking men's. Golly. I'm sorry.
It's all good. No.
Sweet 16 would be, if we get to Sweet 16,
that's
that
what
would
it
be
was.
Greenville.
I'm sorry. Yep. No. Okay.
So
then it makes sense. Yeah. Then it makes sense why it's 10 p.m.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a long day of basketball for NC State fans, but I think
and we haven't even talked about too, but I mean wrestling as well. Infinite Hate in here brings up a great point, saying I think I saw where the Wolfpack would finish 6th in the NCAA wrestling tournament if seeding held. So meaning that basically if each of our wrestlers beat anybody who's ranked lower than us, and then if they lost to anybody who's ranked higher than them, then we would finish 6th, which I mean is great. We've finished.
I think that would tie, right?
We finished 4th before.
We did 4th.
We finished 4th back in 2019. So which I mean, I think
a couple upsets.
Yeah, which we need a couple upsets. Which I mean, I think between Kairini, who had 2 huge upsets last weekend over Sam Latona, and Mickey Filippi from Pitt. I mean, I think he could do it. I think Trent Hidlay has a great chance of winning the national championship, winning it all. I think Owen Trefon is a guy that can shock a few guys. I mean, we have a lot of guys that can easily and I think Ed Scott. I think he's going to go in with a huge chip on his shoulder with how how he lost to Austin O'Connor in the UNC duel, and then how he lost to in the ACC championship to get 3rd. So again, I'm very excited about this, and I can't say enough that literally I'm already like trying to figure out in my head, like, all right, how many TVs can I get into one room so I can have wrestling, like each wrestling mat on, each men's basketball game on, and each women's game on. Like, it's I don't know if I could fit it, to be honest. So but anyway, so so I mean, definitely excited about wrestling for sure. And the one thing which I do want to remind everybody as well is that every single wrestler that you're going to see compete this weekend, except for one, will, if they choose so, but also I've never heard otherwise, will be back next season. Now, again, I'm not committing them, but I'm saying that they have a year, and I haven't heard anything to say that they're going anywhere anytime soon.
The more likely scenario would be them transferring out, but that probably wouldn't even be.
That's not even
right.
a thought.
Right.
So
right.
yeah. So I mean, basically just to say that, I mean, again, we just won the ACC by one of the biggest margins in tournament history, and we have a chance to go and get at least, I mean, if we do as we should, get 6, and we return everybody back again next year. I mean, dude, I mean, the sky's the limit for next year. Again, I mean, we still got this year, but I just can't help but get excited about next season.
We need to petition the NCAA to get the wrestling championships here at PNC, right? I mean,
Wolfpack Raw said that, and that's 100% truth.
Yeah. We, I think it would be something that would be easily supported. I mean, you saw what we did for, club hockey. You see what we did for the outdoor game. It's something that'll be supported.
Well, now the one thing which actually might blow your mind here, but the one reason why I don't think we would get it, it's not big enough.
The arena's not big enough?
I don't think it's big enough.
What? I mean, 20,000 people.
Yeah.
I mean, is it 40,000? It's not 40,000.
No, 20,000.
20,000. You said, didn't you say 40, Greg? I'm sorry.
No.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I swear I just thought you were saying
as far
40,000. But
as far as college basketball arenas go, it's top 10 in the nation.
Yeah, but I mean, just I know typically they usually. I mean, again, I could be wrong, but I mean, just from looking at, like, if you go back and watch those championship matches, dude, is.
So it's in
Penn State, Iowa alone. Probably bring 10,000 people.
So
alone.
what stadium is that at, or arena?
Well, it's at Tulsa, Oklahoma. So I mean, and I haven't even looked at. I'm just saying. Again, I've heard before. Attendances of well over 30. Even over 40,000. Even.
So it was held. So last year it was held at Detroit, right?
Yep. Okay.
Little Caesars holds 20,332 for basketball. Okay. That's PNC.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Well, hey, I learned something new here today.
It happen. Let's make it happen.
Make it happen. Make it happen. Well, and it could be.
Would they ever take our advice?
Well, and it could be too that it looks a whole lot bigger just because it is one mat instead of an entire ice hockey arena. So you get a lot more extra seating. So that could be to it too. So it'd be. So I mean, but think about it. If they add in seating and around just the one mat, I mean, PNC could be over 25,
and here's the thing: you want to grow the sport, right? And you look at, and again, we're comparing apples to oranges, but the NHL moved south to grow their sport, right? So why, if you're if you're wrestling, why wouldn't you move it to the southeast, right? Because I honestly, I've only been following it for a few years. Have they even had it in the southeast? Probably not.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope, they haven't.
So
that's a good point.
The arena in Tulsa they're at this year is 19,199.
Yeah, so that's the XL, isn't it?
Yeah. Cool. The Bach Center.
They probably changed the name. But that's where that's not where Oklahoma City plays. Duh.
Yeah. No, I gotcha. But yeah. So again, I mean, definitely excited. And then, also to want to give a shout as well to baseball. That was an interesting series. I think, there's a lot of positives to take away, negatives too, especially that second game. I really did expect that second game that we'd really ride off that positive momentum from the first game, coming back from being down 8-0, and, to get blown out in the second game was a little disappointing, but then third game to come back and smoke them right back. It's like, oh, okay, great. So, I feel like, to me, it's like, it's a long season. I was also a little bit questioned why we brought Sam in so late too. And then, wait until the third game to bring him in. But
that seems to be his thing though, because last weekend he pitched on the Sunday game as well in the late innings. The one thing I will say that reared its ugly head was the error column. We had 3 errors in each of the games, and that really hurt us in the game 1 when they had that 8-run second inning. Just can't be given extra outs. Miami's a decent team. They're not even in the upper echelon of the ACC right now. Not to say they can't end there, but if you're giving them extra outs, imagine what you're going to do with the top tier teams, and they're going to really take advantage. But this team is still hitting. That was one of the positives that you can definitely take out of it. Cannon Peebles is still killing it. Peyton Green is still getting it done. This whole team can still hit the ball. I think all but 2 of our hitters are over 300 or are regulars.
Unbelievable. Yeah. So again, to me, we have a tough series against Virginia coming up this weekend. So I mean, to me, it's just okay. Hey, we got one at Miami. Hopefully it's a building block. That if we can win the series against Virginia this weekend, then hey, sounds good to me.
I'm not worried.
No, not yet.
A lot
No,
of
definitely
people
not
are
hitting
talking
any
about,
kind of
like,
panic button right now.
obviously it was a fluke that we were undefeated. That's not true. Like, baseball is one of those sports that you could be the best team, but it depends on how, like, if they're swinging their bats better and they're actually connecting because of mainly or luck sometimes, then they're going to win again.
Well, again, it's that baseball is the definition of anybody on any
100%.
day on any given hour. I mean, because again, Ole Miss, who barely won it, who barely got in last year, they won it all. So
the Braves won the series. Okay, I mean that's all you need to say that anybody can win. The Atlanta Braves.
Exactly.
The other thing I'll say about this team is, yes, we gave up some runs, right? But you can't put that all in pitching, right? It's the defense didn't help pitching.
Mm-hmm.
Pitching's been good. I mean, well, I'll say solid. Yeah. Solid is a good way to describe it. You can't fault a pitcher when he's got to go out and throw another 15, 20 pitches, right? You're asking them to be too perfect too long. So I thought we did good. Dominique Britton another great game yesterday. 4 innings, I think it was, no runs. Back-to-back Sundays where he's only given up 1 run. And he's a freshman, I think.
He is.
Yeah. So you're getting good production. In fact, you're getting a lot of good production from your freshman. Cannon Peebles. There's another one I'm escaping, but where I'm going is you're getting things that we weren't sure about to begin the season, right? The unknowns, and the unknowns are proving to be good commodities right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree with that. So before we wrap up this show, we do have one more caller who is waiting that I want to go and bring in to wrap this up here.
Nana, please tell me it's Nana.
No, not Nana.
I can call Nana. She'll get on.
No. We got Benjamin Orman here with us. What's going on, Benjamin? How you doing?
What's up? I'm good.
Good to hear.
Back to what Kansas about the baseball team with us being undefeated. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. But
who's being undefeated? Sorry, did I miss it?
Oh,
you missed.
Yeah, baseball team being undefeated.
Oh, yeah. Well, we missed. Yeah, sure.
They might have dropped the series to Miami, but what some people don't realize is Miami was projected to win that side of the division, the Coastal Division.
True.
And that this baseball team, believe it or not, is actually pretty good in my eyes.
That's a great point.
Side of things.
That's a great point. Because maybe you're running to a situation where, like the basketball team did, right? So you had a really good out of conference, not necessarily the strongest, but I thought Although State played some really good opponents, Vanderbilt, Kansas, and then they get to the AC play and they lose like their first few games. Hindsight ended up being some of the best teams you had to play against the ACC. So maybe losing to Miami is not that. Should be not taken like it's we lost we lost that series, whatever. But they're really good. They're really good teams. That's a great point.
Yeah. Well, especially the fact that we stayed in. We only went down from 19 or 21 to 23. So we only dropped a couple spots.
Yeah, 19.
19. So we dropped to 23. So still in top 25. But yeah. What else you got for us, Benjamin?
I know I've been hard on Keats, but I'm actually going to give him some credit.
Hey.
For this year's turnaround.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bravo. Like that.
Well, that's a good point, right? If you're gonna give them junk and crap for losing, you got to give them praise for winning, right? So you got to be
because we wanted him to win. Like
yeah,
no State fan, even if whether you like or don't like Keats. None of us want State or Keats to lose because then we lose. So
well, and then you're starting all over with a new coach, and you lose recruits, and you lose momentum, and that's just not a good thing.
Yeah, but to go from 11 to 23 wins is impressive enough, but some may call me crazy, but 1983, or older people seen State versus Houston in the national championship, and I'd say in 2023, State versus Houston in the Natty.
There we go.
It's a long shot, but it's gonna happen, kids. It's gonna happen.
I'm the only one that was in this conversation that was alive and was able to watch that game, and I was only 7 years old. So
yeah. Well, I mean, now we just need Houston to come up with some kind of fun name. We need another fun name besides Five Slamma Jamma.
Yeah. I was secretly hoping that we got slotted to the West because that was the bracket that we were in when we won it all in '83. So I was secretly.
You did notice that they put NC State and Houston on opposite side of the bracket.
They did,
right?
They did. Yeah, but there was room. I mean, like 2 weeks ago, there was a chance in the one when we were on the 8 line that we were matched up with them. A couple of them, but I'm okay with it being a finals or a championship matchup
for sure. Yeah, Benjamin. So, but definitely, hats off to you, man, for giving Keith some love. Where we know when it's justified for sure.
Hey, but I think that's a good point, though. I mean, so Benjamin was kind of a wait and see kind of guy, right? Like, and and Coach Keach talked about it. Like he understood. He mentioned it during the season that he had to win fans back, or the team had to win fans back. So
absolutely,
I'm okay with that
for sure. Yeah. So, any other thoughts or questions or concerns, Benjamin, you got for us?
Nope, I'm good.
Awesome.
Thank y'all for having me on, and go Pack.
Go Pack, Benjamin. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Yeah. Hey, again, it's love to hear that, for sure. And again, can't fault, Benjamin, any others necessarily for being hesitant for sure. But, it's one of those things like, for me, I say, hey, I'm going to support these guys as much as I can because when we do win it all, whether it's in basketball, football, either one of those two here in the near future, I'm going to be thrilled that, I'm going to say like, I never had doubt. Like I knew we were going to get here. It was just a matter of time.
Well, I think it's safe to say that none of the 5 of us are fair weather fans, right? And so like
no.
And if we weren't, we wouldn't be doing a podcast together.
We should have one more visitor. That's waiting to get in.
Lord.
Let's go. We do need Nana to close the show out.
Yeah, I was about to say we need some Nana.
She can bring the house. I think she has to be a regular anytime we do these call-ins. Like we have to have the last caller be Nana. I think that needs to be a tradition.
Yeah.
We don't have any traditions on this show, but I think that can be one.
Before we bring in Nana, though, we got to get to, I think, honestly, one of the biggest the biggest topic we haven't even talked about yet.
I was going to buzz in. I don't have a buzzer.
Yeah.
We going Caitlin Tuohy?
You better believe it. Caitlin Tuohy here, baby. Infinite hate saying Caitlin Tuohy. Better appreciate this while it lasts. May only have a few more chances to see her in person before she leaves NC State. This outdoor season could be the last time, which, I mean, so first of all, and I know somebody commented because she technically has still 2 more years of eligibility, which is like mind-boggling to even think about that she's already arguably the most accomplished in-state athlete of all time.
In my book. Yeah, she got 2 more national championships.
2 more national championships, and I mean,
she's the GOAT. She's the greatest of all time at NC State, and then we throw that term around. She is.
Well, and there's one other track and cross country, person that's, I'm blanking, but she's from back in the day that technically has won more individual national championships still than Caitlin has. But again, I mean, Caitlin still has 2 more years left. So, I mean, in my opinion, just go ahead and give it to her because, I mean, like, it's like, she could.
I think I know who you're talking about. She won like a silver medal or something, a gold medal. Like,
I mean, it was back when the pictures were black and white. It was a while ago. But anyway, got to give a shout out to Caitlin too. Again, 2 national championships in the 5,000 meter, 3,000 meter. I mean, I can't say it enough. And this just goes back to once again. I say not only just for Caitlin Tuohy, but for all NC State sports folks. I mean, like gymnastics, once again, like I remember having a conversation with a fan after the gymnastics meet where we got the 2nd highest score in program history saying gymnastics might be the next breakout sport, like the next breakout one to really hit the national scene. And I mean, like, wrestling did that a few years back. Gymnastics might be next. Cross country has been doing it. Swimming and diving, is top 5 in the country. Women's and men's tennis has, hit the national scene over the last couple of years. Like, I'm telling y'all, like, every single state fan needs to take note of every single sport because it is 100% justified, in my opinion. 100% justified. But got to give a shout out to Caitlin Tuohy. Build a statue. Just go ahead and build it before she even gets off campus, in my opinion.
So, I mean, what's like the professional outlook for track and field? I mean, other than Olympics, what does that look like for them?
It does exist.
I mean, you run marathons and stuff like. I don't know where.
There's not like I don't think there's like a run.
There is a pro circuit.
There is. Yeah. It's kind of in the world
career path. You get what I'm saying? I don't know if there's a career path there.
I think you make most of your money being endorsed.
Yeah, State actually has a couple. State actually has a couple of former runners that actually compete in the pro circuit / because I know there's like a U.S. championship. There's obviously worlds as well. There's the Olympics. So there are options. For sure. And I mean, obviously with Caitlin Tuohy, I mean, dude, I mean, she might go down not only is the best at NC State history, she might go down as one of the best in the history of cross country. I mean, if she continues, and again, I mean, somebody saying that and again, people are saying like, she could leave, which I mean, yeah, she could, but from what I've been hearing, she really does do it for the love of it. She loves her teammates. She loves NC State. She loves what she's doing, and again, I mean, she's, getting a free education, she has opportunities to make money too, if she wants it.
But back that up a little bit. I don't think, now I could be wrong. I don't think she's getting a free ride because, they're probably partitioned, percentaged. Now she's probably getting the largest cut on that team. Let's be real, but
you're right.
So that could be the one thing that she doesn't stick around because she's not on a free ride.
But another thing which I would say right back to that is that I mean, like if you need financial support, just
I'm sure
make a call. We will find it for Caitlin freaking Tuohy. Holy smokes! Like we'd be. Sure. Like of any athlete that you're looking to support, she's got to be right up there on the list because also she has a great following. I mean, like
especially with NIL. Yeah.
What business would not want her, like calling out their name? Like that's where I'm at. So so that's what I'm saying is that if she's has issues with the finances, which from what I've heard, she's not really necessarily interested in the NIL side. But if that ever does come up, we'll be more than happy to jump at it. I mean, we'd be crazy not to. So
we got Nana.
Anyway, though, not yet, not Nana yet. But again, I'll make sure once she does get in, we'll bring her in for sure. Julie Shea, that's the infinite hate. Julie Shea was other female in-state athlete that's 7-time individual national champion. So
all right,
that's a lot.
That's it.
So
dang you, infinite hate.
Yeah, exactly.
With facts.
Yeah.
What is Caitlin at now? 4 or 5?
5.
She just won 2 more, so I would think 5.
Yeah, she's at 5, if I'm not mistaken, right now.
1 probably 1 in the fall, and then 2 last year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
maybe 6.
Again, yeah, I mean, but again, she's still just a sophomore. That's the scary thing. She's a COVID sophomore. So, and then Infinite Hate puts in here saying that she could definitely make a good amount of money as a professional, at least a couple million in career earnings. She would think, which I mean, is 100%. But I'm just saying from what I've heard, from what I've seen, that's not like she isn't dying to go make money. I think she really is enjoying her time here, which is great. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Love it. And then here, see, look at Infinite Hate's just coming in with all the facts tonight. So 5K outdoor, and then these 2 indoors this weekend. Yeah. So 1 cross country, 5K outdoor, and these 2. So she's won 4 individual and 2 team national championships.
That's true. So what was the other lady? She had 7 individual. Is that what
she had? 7 individual.
Yeah, I can't see the chat tonight. Individual. So okay,
you're good. You're good. Yeah. So Julie Shea has won 7 individual national championships. So, yeah.
All right. Yeah. But hey, easy to say. National Women's Month that the ladies are crushing it at NC State for the history of sports. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Nope, absolutely. So excited about that. But so let's see what else. Again, I'm kind of buying a little bit of time here to see if we get Nana in here. But I know we're technically almost hit to the end of the time. But
softball won their first ACC game.
Yeah, beat Notre Dame.
Yeah, beat Notre Dame. Yeah, no, and I do want to give a huge shout out as well to all these girls and the coaching staff that is there, and the fact that again now they're having to face the meat of their schedule without their head coach and their top assistant coach. So basically, you're relying on the pitching coach and pretty much
just
like
another
graduate,
assistant coach.
like a graduate.
Yeah, it was an
basically.
assistant that had no bio on the NC State page.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically, you're relying on one full-time coach, to basically run the show. Which I mean, that's a lot to chew for sure. I mean, and this is our first year too. I know the pitching coach just came in this year, so obviously didn't expect that. 9 games into the season that she'd be the interim head coach for the team. So
isn't it a he? Is the pitching coach a he?
I don't think so.
Because I know the guy is, I think, running the show.
I know. Well, Coach Patrick, who's Coach Swift's.
No, there's a gentleman and a woman that are on staff now, and I thought
yeah, okay,
yeah, but they were the 2 coaches that were already here.
Okay, interesting. Okay, well, and maybe
I know he's been coaching third base and he's been doing the head coaching duties, and I apologize, I don't know his name, but
okay, I got you. Now, another thing which I totally forgot about even as well, got to give a shout out to NC State football, man, for getting huge commit today. Cedric Bailey, a 4-star quarterback who has been supremely impressive, has been ranted and raved about on 24/7, and even I saw like a post from Inside Pack Sports where he has like 68 total touchdowns already, a 2-time state champion. Already in his first couple of seasons as a starting quarterback. So huge get, to be the guy for, whenever, presumptively for after MJ is huge, to say the least.
Best part was, did you see where Doran tweeted it from?
No, where?
The Dominican Republic. He's on vacation, and his tweet came from the Dominican Republic.
That's funny.
I love that. That's so sick.
Yeah.
So again, huge get there. Shouts to Doran staff, and thank you, Benjamin, for the reminder as well. All right, so I think it's time to bring in.
Wait, I've been struggling with
Nana. Hey, there's Nana.
Hey.
Hey guys.
Hey Nana, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm going to be doing even better Friday after we win.
There you go.
I love it. Let's go. I love the state hat too. It looks awesome.
Thank you.
I know. What's your score prediction? Give us a score prediction.
My prediction. Listen, these guys have played hard to get where they're going, and they hadn't been in so long, and some of them probably wouldn't have ever got a chance to go. Yeah. Listen, I guarantee you we're going to be in the Sweet 16.
There we go, Nana.
Nana, who's your favorite player from this season? Isn't it Jarkel?
Yeah.
She loves
Jarkel.
Cool.
I really do like him.
Or DJ.
Yeah. And I love DJ. I really do. I like DJ. He's come a long way, I think.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely. Could not agree with you more.
I really predict that these guys are going to do well. I mean, they're going to be on the spot with those 3-pointers, and I think they want it bad, so they're going to work hard for it. And I'm going to be right there cheering them on, buddy.
Now, do y'all see where I get it from?
I was just going to say, Nana, I'm not sure where Ken's gets their positivity, but I'm guessing it's probably from your side of the family.
That's exactly right.
Natty champs, right, Nana? Natty champs.
That's right, baby. I taught you well. I taught you. You got good taste. You got good taste too, baby. That was fact.
This is the greatest.
This is must-see TV.
We have to end the show on this. So
we are totally done. There we go, Nana. There we go.
Right.
We got
everybody on the screen. There you go.
Yeah.
Friday at 4:00. The world's gonna stop.
Now here's a real question. Here's a real question. Are you going to stay up at 10 o'clock and watch the women's team up to midnight?
I probably will. I'll probably
Okay.
hyped up after.
Well, you're braver than me because I'm not even sure if I could stay up there. I would fall asleep.
Nana's the professional. She knows after the men's game she gets a little nappy nap, right?
No, Nana gets
power nap.
Little power nap. Yeah, little power
Nana
nap.
gets some of the alcohol out of her system. She starts drinking some more to watch another state.
Hey, we got to.
I might have to have a couple of drinks. You're right, to celebrate. So
there you go.
I love it.
So next year we're gonna have you out at the tailgate, and we're gonna have to show up Leighton and Ashlyn's grandpa because we need a Nana shot ski. Like
gotta do it. We'll do it.
And we're gonna do a side by side of who did it best, and we're gonna put it out on Twitter poll. Yeah,
I love it. I love it.
Love
thank you, Nana, for calling in. We appreciate you, and go Pack.
Go Pack. You
Thanks,
guys
Nana.
stay tuned Friday and cheer. We got to cheer and let them know we're there for them, buddy.
I love it.
Good. Sounds good.
Love
you, Nana. You be good.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
I'm telling you, this has to be a recurring segment every time we do call in.
I don't disagree with you 100. I don't disagree with you at all. That was awesome.
She sprinted to her room to put that hat on too.
I love it.
Well, I'm glad she didn't break a hip or something, man.
No, I don't want that.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. So I think we got to end on that note. So first of all, thank you to everybody who called in. It was great chatting and hearing your thoughts, questions, whatever it may be. Really do appreciate it. For those who didn't even necessarily call in, who just tuned in, really do appreciate it. Infinite Hate, got to give a shout out to you for all the information you've come in clutch for us tonight for sure. So thank you for that. Thank you all again for tuning in and for the amazing support. We're so excited about this week. And obviously, if you haven't already, cannot tell you enough to make sure to give us a follow, Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter and Instagram, as we will be really buckling down and covering as much as we can here this week and this weekend. It's going to be and this whole month in general, actually. It's going to be a fun one. Looking forward to it. And also, just as a reminder, again, 4:00 on Friday, either at Emilio's, where you can, again, from 4 to 6, enjoy half-price appetizers and watch the game there with us here at Tuffy Talk, and also they also have even stadium cups as well. It's going to be awesome environment, so make sure to get there if you can. But if you can't get there, make sure to stay tuned, as we'll have a link where you can join in and you can comment your thoughts, questions, whatever it may be here with us, and watch the game along with us. So we can't.
Maybe I'll just drive down and we'll do it together, man.
Hey, I love to hear it. That sounds
I'll be
fun.
there.
Let's do it.
Awesome. All right, let's go. All
I'll
right,
bring
so
Nana.
yeah. And also to, again, make sure if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, as we will have our NCAA previews provided by Michael and Greg here coming out hopefully Wednesday afternoon, late afternoon. So make sure to stay tuned for those. And if you enjoyed this live show, hit that like button, and again, give us a follow, Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter, Instagram. Anything else, y'all? We need to touch base on.
No, we're good.
Oh, all right, y'all. Let's win that natty. Let's have a huge weekend starting off here this weekend,
Hey,
y'all.
I will say this: there's not many schools in the country that had this much success in the postseason. I think it's something like I saw a tweet, it's like one of 14 schools in the country. So people, state fans, let me be pessimistic because the stuff that's happened bad in the past.
Yep,
it's a really good year for state. So
very good year. Absolutely, cannot be understated enough. But thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you for the support, and let's have an awesome weekend this weekend, y'all.
Go Pack.
Go Pack.